the orientation, academic orientation session. Okay, it's Eulalia Gomez, the Vice Dean of International Relations of the Arquitectura in Barcelona.
Welcome. School when exiting the school in front of you on the other side of the mountains. So the School of Architecture of Barcelona is one of the 3 schools related to architecture that the UPC, the Universitat Politècnica de Catalunya, a public university, has. Okay, the first one is right next to ours, and probably if you came by subway when you stopped Interuniversitaria, when crossing is the one in the corner. This is the School of Building Engineering. So it's architecture, but it's a 4-year program. Then we have ours, which is the one that we put in the center. And then we have ETSAB with a V, which is on the other side of the hills of Collserola. It's a smaller school with a different academic program, okay? We do not share courses. We share some teaching staff. In my case, I teach both here and in the other school, but the programs are completely different one from the other, okay? The one in which you are is in this 2024. The second has been ranked as the second Spanish architecture school. It's among the top 10 in Europe and the top 30 worldwide. It's a 26 all across the globe. And this has to do with a very big critical mass of students, of faculty members, of technical staff, and also of the rigor with which we teach and learn architecture here. The school was founded in 1875, and I guess then you can do some mathematics, so you can guess that 2025 is the 150th anniversary of the school. So you came here to celebrate with us this anniversary. And you can see that the UPC, the university to which we belong, was founded much later in 1971. This has to do with the school being, as many schools of architecture in the world, a merge between fine arts tradition, so those who knew how to draw, and the master builders tradition, those who knew how to build. These 2 schools, founded in 1875, at some point merged and founded the School of Architecture, the Barcelona School of Architecture. The building in which we are now is kind of big, and it has 3 different parts. We are missing one here, which is the library, but we have this very tall building in which now we are in the ground floor of this tower. For us, being in Barcelona, 7 stories is a tower. So we are here in this room, but in the ground floor level, you enter this way, and you did this, and you founded this. In this tower, you will take some studios, mainly architectural design studios and urban design studios. Studios are placed in this side of the building, and in this other side, we have the offices, the teaching, research and teaching offices. This other extension here has on the first floor the Secretaría, so where the administrative staff is located, but also where the direction and the deans are located in the first floor, and in the ground floor has the most crowded room in the school, which is the cafeteria. Then we have this extension here, which has 2 floors, which is mainly used for theoretical classes, for theory, for structures, for construction, for those in which we do not need such big tables as in design studios, but still we need very big spaces. This extension was built by Coderc. José Antonio Coderc was one of the most famous modern architects in Barcelona, in Catalonia. And this building was awarded with a design award in 1984. So you are studying in a building, you will be studying in a building which is itself an architectural jewel. This is how the building looks like, and this is seen from the terrace of the building that was not on the floor plan, which is the library. And do not be scared by these large figures that you see on screen. We are a community of more than 3,000 people, which means 2,000 degree students, among which you will be working and spending your time in the school. More than 500 students, more than 200 doctoral students, 300 faculty members, and more than 50 administrative staff. Even if it's this big, we used to know each other somehow, so do not feel scared by these numbers, I insist. The school is this big, is so big that we need to split it into shifts, let's say. So there's a school working in the mornings and there's a school working in the afternoons. This means that any course, except for the electives, is taught in the mornings, and the same day it's taught in the afternoon by a completely different teaching staff in a completely different enrollment group. So at some point, students do not choose between mornings and afternoons, but they choose some courses in the morning, some others in the afternoon, according to the professors they like the most or where their friends are placed. So the morning shift starts at 8:30 in the morning and ends at 1:30 p.m. The afternoon shift runs from 3 o'clock till 8 o'clock. When enrolling, please keep in mind that you can get placed in some courses in the morning, some others in the afternoon. The school has plenty of spaces to study, to work together in groups, in which you can spend the gaps between one course or the other, in case that you do not have a continuous schedule. This has to do with the studio classes in the high building, in which you will see that you will be grouped in 20, 25 people groups, classes, with one professor. But you will see also that the corridors are part of our teaching and learning scenario, that even the stairs and the corridors are part of these places in which we sometimes seek for a different light, a different ambience to learn. We have the very exhibit room, which is the lobby of the Coderc building, in which you will see now that we are exhibiting the Young Talent Awards by Mies van der Rohe Foundation. You know that the foundation is settled in Barcelona, and every year they organize a prize in which they award the best final project in architecture. Now you can see the nominees and the awarded from last year. We also use the terraces, especially the big terrace behind the bar, the cafeteria, as learning and teaching spaces, also for doing pin-ups. And also these spaces, the gardens, this is one case in the corridor that connects the building of CODER with the library. So any corner in the school can be this place for teaching and learning. Sorry, it's not my best day. This is an image of the late 60s, beginning of the 70s, in which we can see the Diagonal Avenue. At some point, this is Zona Universitaria metro station. This is the architecture building, so the building in which we are. And it's interesting to understand that if you look at the diagonal today, you will see that it's much different. And here there's a very interesting urbanistic lesson. I teach urban design, so I take any opportunity to explain things on the formation of Barcelona. But you need to think that, you need to know that when architecture was placed here together with industrial engineering, together with the law school, together with sociology, together to many other schools, the diagonal was almost unbuilt in its sides. It was full of empty plots. And placing the university here wasn't a strategy to make the city grow till this point, okay? Before having the metro station Zona Universitaria, there was the university here, okay? So the school was part of this pack of schools which helped Barcelona grow till this part. And the school has trained many architects that have transformed the city. This is the same Diagonal Avenue. I do not need to tell you what this building is. It has been under construction for more than 150 years. It's said that next year they are gonna finish it. Let's see. But this is the other part of the Diagonal Avenue which arrives to the sea. This arrival to the sea of the Diagonal Avenue happened in 2004. And it happened with this. This was made and built by José Antonio Martínez La Peña and Elías Torres, which are also a couple of outstanding architects who taught once here, now they are retired, but that they have one of the most powerful offices of architecture in the city. And this is a pergola, a shadow, which at the same time is a huge photovoltaic installation. So to end the diagonal, Barcelona did not choose, on the other part, did not choose to place another university, which is not true because there's also a university, but to do something which has to do with the metabolism of the city. So this is not this is an infrastructure, but at the same time, it's architecture. And I explain this because this has to do with the way in which the school shows or explains or teaches architecture. Professors in the school and students trained in this school were also responsible to transform the seafront of Barcelona, which in the 80s looked like this. You can see this shanty town on the what today are beaches, to this, which is the Olympic City, which was built in the 1992s. Also, professors trained in Barcelona were responsible of transforming something like a very ordinary corner in the grid to something that was just painted through tactical strategies to something that was reshaped and transformed into a square. So from a very functional, this is the same corner, I mean, not exactly the same, but one of the corners of the grid, how it worked in the 80s, how it worked right after the COVID pandemic, how it looks today. From a very functional crossing to a square in which proximity activities happen. As I was telling you at the beginning, we are turning 150 years. And by now, we celebrated two big events. One has to do with this conference of the European Association of Architectural Education that was held in this school last week, in which many professors teaching in many European schools explain their teaching work at their home universities. And with the same name, Transhistorical Pedagogies, we are exhibiting until September 23rd some of the materials of the archive. In this school, architects as Gaudí, for example, studied. So we have the exercises that Gaudí did as a student. We also have the drawings that Puig i Cadafalch or Jujol did as students. These are very jewels that are very welcome in many important museums in the world. But now, if you go to the Architectural Association, which is placed right in front of the cathedral in Barcelona, you can see this small exhibit which shows some of these jewels of students from 1875 till 1990s. We stopped in the 90s because we are now building the living archive from which or of which you will take part soon. You also know that in 2026, Barcelona is going to be the world capital of architecture. So you came the perfect year, the perfect academic year, because you are celebrating the anniversary and celebrating the capitality of architecture. You know that in July, there's going to be the World Congress of Architects, but from February 2026, many exhibits and many activities will happen across the city. And we, the schools, are going to be very involved with our work in these activities. So let's go to what worries you the most, which is, okay, what are you going to study while being here? The school has these programs that you can see on screen. We have the degree in architecture, that it's where you are going to enroll your courses. A degree in landscape, which is a 4-year program that started 6 years ago, so it's kind of young. A qualifying master in architecture, which is a 1-year program for those that have been graduated in any architecture school of Spain. And then these 3 different master programs. You are all going to be enrolling courses here, but some of you, those that have a specific amount of credits and that you were asked to demonstrate that you already passed this amount of credits, can also take some electives of this master program, which are also taught in English. Okay. The school, before starting going across the courses one by one, it's important to have 2 things in mind. One of them is this character which merges the technological and the humanist character. This means that we are strong in all these technological disciplines, on construction, on structures, on services, but we are also very strong in history of architecture and theory of architecture. Okay, so this comes from that tradition of master builders and fine arts tradition. And then a specificity in Barcelona that is shared with many architecture schools in Spain has to do with this. Every student from 2nd to 4th year, architecture program here is 5 years. So many of you are coming from a program, from a master program. You are going to enroll a degree and undergrad program because it's 5 years. So we are not in Bologna, we are 5 years studies. But from 2nd to 4th year, every student has to take in parallel, in a compulsory way, an architectural design studio, and an urban design studio. So it's not about choosing one or the other, but taking both in parallel. You do not need to do this, okay? But I'm just saying this because you will see that the architectural design studio is just 7.5 credits, and the urban design studio, it's just 5 credits. So probably you are used to 12 credits, 15 credits studio. Here the workload is the same, you will see, but the credits are shared between the two studios. You have in the dossier that Maria, Cynthia, and Mireia gave you at the beginning, and those that enter without the dossier before leaving the school today, you need to take it. Okay, this summary of how these 5 years are organized, and you can see that there are some common things between the years. So first year is an introduction year. Second year is about form, you can see form, construction, and site. Third year is mainly focused in housing. And fourth year has to do with facilities and public space. And fifth year, as is the last year, it's always special. And then every student can trace their path. Let's go to also, you need to know that there are some of the courses that are taught in English, but this does not mean that they are completely taught in English always. But so this does not mean that they are just taught in English, but that one of the groups of this course is taught in English. Mainly from second to fourth year, all architectural design studios, all urban design studios, all representation and drawing classes, both in the morning and in the afternoon, have a group in English. I know that not all you come from, so some of you come from a Latin tradition, so you can go to the Spanish groups without a problem. Some others, you already know a bit of Spanish, or you came here to learn Spanish or Catalan, so you want these Catalan or Spanish groups. You can, of course, enroll them, but there's this possibility. If you look around the class, you will see that there are many of you, okay? And these groups are 25 persons, more or less. So you can guess that you are not gonna get placed in the same studio, in the same class, you all, okay? Also because these English groups are also open to local students, because one of the most important things of the Erasmus experience is to merge with the local students and to have friends that are not your local friends, or that are not just visiting students like you. Okay, so these are the courses that are taught in English, but this does not mean, I insist, that you can take these same courses in Spanish. You will see in the website a guide, an illustrated guide of these courses taught in English. And you will see if you go to Instagram that I don't know if it's still, if your generation is still in Instagram or it's just for old people now. But the thing is that you can check there this account, Open ETSAB, in which we show some of the results of almost every course in the school. Almost every course means that teachers at the end of the year need to upload their materials. There are some that forget it, whatever. But you can see that now we have the version of the last academic year, 24-25. But if you scroll down, you will find 4 or 5 past editions. This is interesting because it helps you to understand not just what you are asked to do, but also the type of results that you are expected to produce. So let's go topic by topic, to subject by subject, to understand what the courses work in. Okay, Architectural Design Studio has this first year of introduction. This does not have English groups, and this is a very basic design based on the, I don't know if you are familiar with the 9 square grid problem that was formulated by American architect Hayduk. But it's something more about an introduction of architecture. I don't think that anyone in the room is to take this studio, but it's also open to anyone. And as I was saying, from 2nd to 4th year, we have groups in English in both mornings and afternoons, and in both semesters. Sorry. This is these are images from the Instagram. So if you are a bit patient from today to Monday that you start enrolling, you can understand how the school is organized. But this is Bases para el Proyecto, which is this introductory year. And then 1 and 2 is 2nd year, 3 and 4 it's 3rd year, 5th and 6th is 4th year. 1 is about designing a small thing, like a pavilion, for example. Architectural Design 2 has to do with, again, a small structure, but placed in the middle of the landscape. So it's small designs. 3rd and 4th are housing. So this is 3rd year, and this is about housing. And 4th year, Proyectos 5 y 6, 5 and 6. The first one has to do with buildings, of rehabilitation, of readaptation of buildings to other uses. And the 6th has to do with big spans, of working on big structures. Be aware that the technical demand of the studios is very high. So even if you are in a master program, even if you think that 4th year is even not enough for you, I can tell, because of my experience and because of the experience of many years seeing incoming students from many good schools coming, that 4th year Proyectos 5 y 6 are very demanding. So you need to know how to build, you need to know how to calculate structures, you need to have a very high level in technology, okay? This is still up to 4th year, and surprise, 5th year can have studios which maybe are less demanding in terms of technique than 4th year, okay? So 4th year, keep in mind that those that take 4th year, you are gonna learn a lot, but you will suffer. And don't tell that I did not advise you. Okay, so I'm not telling that you do not enroll them. So what I'm saying is I'm warning you that are very demanding. So 5th year thematic studios are like studios in many of your schools. So they are like author studios. It's an open topic that some professors launch. For example, this territory, city, and project, it's more on the urban scale. Project and memory has to do with the rehabilitation of heritage. Computational architecture has to do with parametric design. Collective housing is for those that in 3rd year enjoyed a lot and want still keep on researching and working on housing. Same thing here, another that has to do with housing. This one, for example, I'm not gonna go through all them because you can take with patience this guide and read them. But for example, Arquitectos de Cabecera has to do with more tactical and participatory processes, okay? I took some of the examples. This is 5th year. Urban design, which is the best course that you can take if you come to Barcelona, because it's one of the specificities that this school has. It's placed in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th year. 2nd year, Urbanistica 1 and 2 have to do with a very analytical approach, but we start proposing at the urban scale. The first semester has to do with urban elements, dealing with water, dealing with air, dealing with soil and land, dealing with activities, and is very linked to Barcelona. So the theory linked to this course has to do with learning how Barcelona was shaped and how Barcelona is today. So it's also, even if it's the 2nd year course, it's a good opportunity for those that do not know anything about Barcelona and want to learn about it. I'm not selling this 2nd year because I'm teaching here, but I think that it's a good course to root, especially if you don't have experience in urban design. 2nd year has to do with second semester has to do with analyzing fragments and a very morphological approach, but also has to do with cartographies and to understanding the city as a whole and the city as fragments. In 3rd year, the first semester has to do with the design of public space, and 2nd semester has to do with urban extension. So you take a fragment of empty land in continuity with the urban footprint, and you need to design a new neighborhood, like urban design process. 5 in 4th year, 1st semester has to do with adapting industrial areas and mixing programs into monofunctional areas. And 6th year sixth semester, that it's 4th year, has to do with urban strategies and more aimed to urban planning. So you need to keep in mind that the 5 first semesters have to do with design. And there was the founder of the Laboratory of Urbanism in Barcelona, Manuel de Sola Morales, said that the same tools that you use for designing architecture can be used for designing the city. So you will see that it's not the common planning approach, but the design approach. So also keep in mind that if you take both studios, architectural design and urban design studios, you will have a heavy workload. You are not, in many of the studios, you are not working alone, you work in pairs, which also means logistics, because maybe you cannot work with the same person in architectural design and in urban design, so it depends on you and how you organize your time. Architectural representation, sorry that I'm slow. I'm good? Okay. So, first year, drawing is hand drawing. The first one has to do with walking on the streets and doing some sketches. The second has to do with mixed techniques. So we use watercolors, we use charcoal, so we use many other techniques, but it's hand drawing. Then representation 1, I need to look at my notes because I'm not, has to do with the 3D construction and composition. Then the second one has to do more with the production of visuals, mainly Photoshop, but also other programs. Representation 3 has to do with 3D visuals at non-real time, like V-Ray, Blender, etc., and also real time, like 3D Studio Max, SketchUp, again, Blender. And then the RI4 has to do with 3D modeling and with parametric design also. Okay, so again, first, second, third, fourth year. Theory and history. We have 2 courses in history, which are built on examples. The first one, history 1, has to do with examples from Egypt to the French Revolution. Historia 2 has to do with examples from the industrialization till the modernity crisis at the end of the 20th century. Theory, on its side, does not look at architectural examples, but instead looks at ideas and authors. So it looks at outstanding voices from other disciplines, as photographers, philosophers. So has to do with the ideas, and then Historia has to do with the examples. In this case, the only course that has a group in English is History 2. Then there are some very basic courses placed in first year, which are physics and mathematics. I don't think that you came to Barcelona to study physics or mathematics, but just in case they are open to anyone. But then for the construction, let's go again. You can have a construction in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th and 5th year, which also have different approaches. So construction 1 has to do with the identification of constructive systems, an introduction to materiality and techniques. Construction 2 has to do on the path. You can see that they are doing site visits and has to do in this path from design to implementation. So it's the constructive development of a project. Construction 3 has to do with designing facades, and construction 4 has to do with diagnosis and rehabilitation. Most commonly, you need to pick a building and do this study of pathologies to propose a solution to improve it. Structures. Also, we have, there's no English groups in constructions. For structures, we have an English group in structures 2. Structures 1 has to do with the geometry of structures. It's 2nd year. It's very, it's basic, but if you haven't studied the structures, I think that it's where you need to start. And then 2, 3, and 4, 2 is for concrete structures, the one in English, the dimensions of calculation of concrete structures. 3 has to do with iron structures. 4 has to do with the soil mechanics. Again, in the branch of technology, conditioning and services, which are taught completely in Spanish or Catalan, have these 3 courses. In the first one is more, it's 2nd year, it's on environmental design, so a natural understanding, management of the climate, the lighting, and the acoustics. Conditioning 2 has to do with installation, to the design and installation of facilities to provide water, light. So this analyzes the behavior, though the second analyzes the installation, and the third one has to do with the artificial system. So the 2 first have to do with the natural, the third has to do with the artificial. And then you have a bunch of electives. The electives change every year, so maybe you are interested in one, and this past year we reformulated all them, so maybe there are some of them in the list that you cannot find in the guide, but somehow in this case you only need to keep in mind, or one of the things that you need to keep in mind is that there are some which are intensive, which means that instead of being taught during the whole semester, they are just taught in January. For those in the first semester, or that they are taught in June for those in the second semester, okay? Here you can see some of the results also of the electives. And then just for those that come from advanced master programs or that have more than, how many credits? 180 ECTS, and you already showed the certificate to Secretaría. You can take these 8 electives that respond to the master degree in architecture, to 2 tracks: contemporary project, which is focused on housing, and urbanism, which is focused on urban design. You also have the guide A. You also have the guide A. You will find, for those that can enroll this, you will find also the graphic guide of these courses. Finally, before taking questions and answers, keep in mind that on Tuesdays, between 1:30, classes end up earlier, or no, they end up at the same hour, but between 1:30 and 2:30, we have what we call cultural activities, which is normally the moment in which we hold conferences, lectures or openings of exhibits, and it's a moment which is open to all the courses. So you will mix with 2nd, 3rd, 4th year students. This is how, because you are here, because some of the students that last year were studying here went to your universities. So we had more than 460 applications for going abroad, because every student can select up to 3 universities. And you can see this is the number of students, for example, that wanted to go to Shinshu in Japan or to Tokyo, Waseda. This year, every year, the mood changes, and this past year, Japan was kind of at the very beginning of the ranking. But it's important for you to be aware of this, that you are here because some other person is taking your spot in your home school, more or less. There's always a balance. And that you have the responsibility to be here and to kind of show us your way of doing. So you are not here in a passive way. You did not came here just to learn, but you also came here to teach to us your ways of doing things. Okay? This is part of the deal. You will see there's another Instagram account in which we show the work that our students, ETSAB students, do in your home schools. But I wanted to also put the attention to something which does not have to do with the regular programs that you are enrolling from Monday to Wednesday, but to these workshops or intensive programs that have to do with the attraction that Barcelona have. We have many partners that propose us to do short experiences. So all along the academic year, you will find some posters like this hanging on the corridors, hanging on the study rooms, offering 5-6 spots for doing these short programs, 1 week, 10 days programs. You get credits from this. So in case that you enroll now some courses, but you want extra credits, or in case that you are interested in something that has not to do with the regular teaching at the school, these workshops are also open to you. Okay? The school has a website, as all the schools in the world. You can find many of the things that I told you in the school. You will have the guides from Monday to Wednesday. There's also this handbook that was built in 2020, in which you can also look at some of the results besides the Open ETSAB results. And I would say that that's all on my side. And now, if you have any questions, answers, we have the tutors. You know that I didn't say this, but the way that we organize is it working? Yes. Okay, right, yeah. The way that we organize the Erasmus experience and the exchanges experience is built also in a very specific way of doing things, that you will find that you have a tutor. There's a faculty member of the school which is gonna help you to select which courses can fit better to you according to your background, and will help during the semester, during the year, if you have any problems, okay? Um, these are people who know well your home schools. So at some point, also listen to them when they advise you which courses would be interesting for you, because they somehow have the experience of having been tutors of students coming from your same university for many years now. Okay? Uh, that's all on my side. Now, questions, comments. Between Monday and Wednesday, you are enrolling in Secretaría, in the first floor. Um, the enrollment is not organized in a first come first serve basis, but we are kind of freeing spots in groups, like in a very cyclical way. So it can happen that you enroll the first day and you don't find a spot in the course or group that you wanted, but then someone enrolling the third day finds this spot. Okay, so be in this case relax, because enrolling the first one, I mean, being the first one always has the advantages, right? But enrolling the first day does not mean having more opportunities than enrolling the last day. Did I reply to your question? Well, more or less. Yeah, you have in your folders, there's a sticker in which says the specific day and hour in which you need to enroll. Okay? You had a question. Me matan. De los tutores. Sí, están asignados ya. So the tutors, si lo digo en inglés, no, vale. Los tutores están asignados, I say it in Spanish and then I translate. Están asignados ya porque son siempre los mismos, y cada escuela tiene, o cada grupo de escuelas tiene un tutor que es una persona que conoce bien esas escuelas. ¿De qué universidad vienes tú? De Buenos Aires, es Melissa Pessoa, sí. Si no te ha contactado por email, lo hará antes del lunes. Y si no, tú tienes su email y le puedes escribir. Okay? So the tutors are already assigned, and you probably to some of you, they already contacted, because we have here some tutors as Francesc Peramiquel from Uniandes, Jaime Ferrer from all the Swedish schools, and Lund, Göteborg, Trondheim and Oslo. Then we have Pere Joan Ravallat for the Swiss schools, and then Cosima Cornador with Berlin, no, Munich, Darmstadt, and Nagano. Okay? And myself for the Belgian schools, and also Delft, that I did not email you. But the thing is that if they will email you, if they didn't do it by now, you can email them, okay? Just telling them which courses you are enrolling or you want to enroll, and just opening the conversation. how do they know? Because it's in the folder, right? In the sticker in the folder, you have the name. Moro. És que he començat tard. Dilluns, de dilluns a dimecres. Ells ho saben, ho tenen a l'etiqueta de... No, els nostres ja estan matriculadíssims. Sí. Perdó. Okay, so if there are any Uniandes students, any Norwegian, Swedish students, any Swiss students, Germans, Belgians, or Delft students, you can stay in the room or look for your tutor. Otherwise, there's a question there in the last row. No tienes el dossier todavía. Yeah, first step maybe, yeah, would be. Also, we have. Pau, tu què ets? Pau, tu què tutoritzes? Tu les portugueses, oi? Portuguese Schools, Pau Villalonga. For those that arrive a bit later and do not have the envelope with the sticker, maybe first thing is going to take it and then you come back in case that you are from one of these countries. Otherwise, email your tutors. Just one thing, when going to the enrollment appointment, please, I would advise you to have a plan B or C. So maybe you want to enroll something and there's no spot there, but you need to be prepared. Sí, en la guía docente, espera. For all the courses, replying. Just 1 second. For all the courses, even if you have this guide with the results and you have opened it up to see some images, if you scroll down the guía docent, the guide, and you go to, let's take, for example, Proyectos 4, and you go, ara no sé mai quin és, si és aquest. No, aquí, el P, no? Aquí, el D, vale, gràcies. You have the description of the course. Okay, so para las electives, for the optativas, esto te puede servir. As I was saying, the electives were reformulated for this year, so for many of them you won't find graphic results. Okay. Thanks for coming. And
When you speak with your supervisor, you can make from the University of Internacionales, Jaime, that's also something comfortable. One, which is a Swedish university.
Swiss.
Architecture, studying